Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Lords of All People. Start with a Lord Simulator. Chapter 1. The Supreme Continent will begin to recruit Lords in 7 days. The host has been selected, please get ready. The Lord Simulator is loading. Lord Simulator loaded successfully. Do you want to start the simulation? Yi Chun heard the voice in his mind, and his heart was full of doubts. I have just traveled to this world for a month, and I have not waited to decide what to do. Why do I have to travel again? What is the Supreme Continent? The Supreme Continent will select billions of healthy blue stars, each of whom will be randomly assigned territories and ruling arms. This place is full of opportunities, but it is also full of terrifying and dangerous existences. You will face monster invasions, expand your territory, cooperate or fight with other lords, and you can even obtain the god position and become the lord of all things. Immediately afterwards, a transparent panel similar to a game interface appeared in front of Yi Chun. Lord Simulator. The host can simulate to become a lord, and can perform countless simulations every day, but the cooling time of the simulation will increase with the number of times. Note: the environment where the host is located will have a certain impact on the simulator. It's just God helping me. Information about the high continent can be obtained in advance through simulation. How to avoid danger and how to obtain supplies are important conditions for one step ahead. Without further ado, Yi Chun immediately started the first simulation. The Lord Simulator starts successfully. Start random selection of 10 talents. There was a flash of light. 10 talents of different colors appeared in front of Yi Chun. Double food purple, kill prey or collect food near your territory will double. Battle boost blue. In the next 10 minutes, all your arms will increase their attack power by 10%. Can be used 3 times a day. Go out in person purple. After you participate in the battle, all arms get 100% extra attack power until the battle state ends. 2 purple talents. The rare degree of talent is divided by color, which can be divided into white, blue, purple and gold. The remaining 7 are white talents, so Yi Chun directly chooses from the 2 purple talents. Double food talent looks very good. First of all, it has no negative effects. Although it can only take effect around the territory, it can definitely greatly increase the material reserve if used properly. It's a bit of a pitfall to go out in person. The 100% bonus attack power is very attractive, but I must personally participate in the battle to take effect. As a lord, it's a bit tasteless. Yi Chun immediately decided to choose double food talent to enter the first simulation. The simulation starts. Initial talent. Double food purple. Random territory. Area 51 of the northern continent's extremely cold frozen land. Random arms. E-class sled dog. Sled dogs. I'll go. Isn't that a husky? Yi Chun had an ominous premonition. Day 1. You are shivering in the igloo, only the 8 newly summoned sled dogs accompany you. You saw that the summoned level E sled dog is level 1, and can grow up to level 4. You are very envious of those lords with B-level or even A-level units in the world channel. Fortunately, there is a 3-day novice protection period. You will not be attacked by snow monsters in the territory, but they are always wandering around and roaring, which makes your nerves a little weak. The next day, you are hungry and cold, and no one responds to the help message you sent to the world channel, so you choose to lead the sled dogs out to hunt, but only 6 of them are willing to obey your orders. After a tough battle, you hunted down a snow monster at the cost of 5 sled dogs. Through the talent double food, you successfully obtained 2 snow monster corpses. When you return to the territory, you find that the igloo has been dismantled by the sled dogs left behind. A blizzard hits and you freeze to death. The simulation is over. Your survival time is 2 days, and the cooldown time is 2 minutes. Erha, you can even demolish your house in the Supreme Continent. Yi Chun was a little speechless. The first simulation did not even survive the novice protection period. This is too bad, and this time the simulation only cares about whether it can survive, and has no intention to explore other rules at all. The sled dogs will not obey their own orders, which shows that the troops in the highest continent may have loyalty. Fortunately, it is only a simulation. Yi Chun breathed a sigh of relief, and suddenly found that the simulator settlement had not yet ended. The host can choose a fixed talent and initial conditions. Yi Chun wondered. Fixed. The host has 10 talent card slots, 3 initial territory pre-selection areas, and 3 initial arms pre-selection areas. At the end of each simulation, the host can choose to permanently fix this talent to the card slot, and add this territory and arms to the pre-selection area. At the beginning of the simulation, if there is an initial territory and an initial unit in the preselection area, the host can directly choose from the preselection area. Yi Chun was taken aback for a moment and then laughed out loud. For others, every lord who enters the highest continent will randomly get an initial talent, and then assign the initial territory and initial arms. And your own lord simulator has the function of fixing talents, and can fix up to 10 talents. In other words, after 7 days, I will enter the supreme continent with 10 carefully selected talents. At the same time, if you encounter good territories and units, you can also save them, and choose the strongest units from them. Monsters and other lords. It's just my own toy. Yi Chun came back to his senses, and first fixed the double food talent to the first column of the card slot. Double food is absolutely invincible until you draw other talents for obtaining resources. As for the extreme cold and permafrost and E-class sled dogs, Yi Chun would not even consider it. Waiting to find a resource-rich territory and awesome troops to add to the pre-selection area. Yes, it is already very good to be able to get material talents for the first simulation. The simulator has cooled down. Yi Chun breathed a sigh of relief, ready to pick up a can of Coke on the table. Whether to use double food talent. Note: each food item can only be triggered once. Can talents be used in reality? Follow Yi Chun's thought. There was an extra can of Coke on the table in an instant. Buy one get one free. Wouldn't it be possible to eat for nothing? Countless advanced ingredients flashed through Yi Chun's mind, and he decided to go to the seafood market to search for it in the evening. But the most important thing now is the next simulation. Start the simulation. Start random selection of 10 talents. What talent will it be this time? Yi Chun saw a golden light appear in front of him. Leadership Charm Gold. Your unit will always maintain the highest loyalty value. Expansion Desire Purple. When stationed in the wild, the loyalty of the troops will be improved. Foot Strength Improvement Blue. The movement speed of all arms is increased by 10%. Gold Talent. Loyalty always remains the same. This means that no matter what kind of arms you get randomly, you will perfectly obey your orders. Yi Chun chose this talent without hesitation. No longer have to worry about being backstabbed by arms. Simulation starts. Initial talent. Double food Purple Charisma Gold. Random territory. Number 43 area of the northern continent's extremely cold and frozen soil. Random arms. E-level skeleton soldiers. Why is it extremely cold and permafrost again? Yi Chun remembered that the simulator seemed to have given a hint. The host's environment will have a certain impact on the simulator. That's what it means. Yi Chun lived in the north of Longguo after crossing over. It is winter now, and the coldest can be tens of degrees below zero. If it is based on environmental influences, there is a high probability that each random event will be extremely cold and frozen soil, but the area numbers are different. It seems that after several simulations, we must find a way to go to a place with a good climate, otherwise it will be difficult to survive in the extremely cold permafrost. Yi Chun figured this out, and then continued to look at the simulator. Day 1. You summon 5 loyal skeleton soldiers in the bunker, some of them hold bows and arrows, some of them wear scimitars. Under your command, they form a formation out of the territory to hunt. At night, they brought back 2 dead snow wolves, and you managed to get energy points and a good meal. Day 2. The roar of the snow monster wakes you up from your sleep, and you find that there are 5 more snow monsters around the territory. You use power points to summon 4 skeletons and send them out to drive away the yetis. The snow monster was driven away, but there are only 6 skeleton soldiers left. You find that the skeleton soldiers are very afraid of low temperature. Day 3. This is the last day of the novice protection period, and you can still eat snow wolf meat for 2 days, so you are always worried. At night, the skeleton soldiers returned from hunting and brought back 2 snow wolf corpses, but lost 1 skeleton soldier. You use all your power points to summon, and finally get together 10 skeleton soldiers to prepare for tomorrow. Day 4. Your skeleton soldiers struggled to support you, but in the end the igloo was breached, the core of the Lord was shattered by the slap of the snow monster, and you were obliterated by the supreme continent. The simulation is over, your survival time is 4 days, and the cooldown time is 8 minutes. Yi Chun called it outrageous. The extremely cold permafrost area is simply hell difficulty. Although they could survive the novice protection period this time, the 10 summoned skeleton soldiers couldn't stop the snow monster's attack at all. If other cold-resistant units are randomized, plus the talent to increase attack power, it is estimated that it can last for a while. But this time also collected useful information. Killing monsters can get energy points, which can be used to summon arms. It seems that the Supreme Continent is encouraging the Lord to go out and kill monsters, and staying in the territory can only lead to a slow death. After the simulation is over, Yi Chun hastened to permanently fix the gold talent charisma to the talent card slot. A golden light flashed across the talent bar, and then shone on Yi Chun. Kacha kacha. Yi Chun heard the sound of bones rubbing against his body, and his muscles were sore and trembling. Especially his own face, as if being kneaded by a pair of big hands. Luckily it only lasted 3 minutes. Yi Chun ran to the bathroom and was startled when he looked in the mirror. His face seemed to be covered with a layer of blood scabs, and his body was also covered in smudges. Scribbled a shower. Yi Chun looked into the mirror while wiping the water drops, and suddenly froze. Who are you, handsome? Just looking at his facial features, there hasn't been much change, but it seems that after careful fine-tuning, the entire face constitutes a perfect proportion. It was such a simple change that suddenly made a qualitative leap in my originally fair-looking self. Yi Chun is now not only his appearance, but also his gestures are very elegant, like a real leader. Gold's talent is really extraordinary. With this appearance and temperament, he can reach the top of the Dragon Kingdom entertainment circle just around the corner. The simulator has cooled down. Yi Chun threw the towel aside. As long as you stay in this place, the next simulation will definitely be in the extremely cold and permafrost area, but you can look forward to whether you can randomly get awesome troops. Then simulate it again. Start random selection of 10 talents. Fighting Passion, Blue. Your unit will get an attack power bonus when it continues to fight, increasing by 5% every 10 minutes, up to 5 times. Bloodline Improvement, Purple. Your biological arms can evolve once, up to A level. This time, 1 purple and 1 blue talent are randomly selected. Purple Talent Bloodline Upgrade. Yi Chun thought. The talent of Bloodline Improvement is very lucky for the common people. If you randomly get a non-biological unit like skeleton soldiers, it is completely useless talent. But there are 3 slots in the pre-selection area for my unit, and I can completely leave a biological unit to upgrade, so don't worry about no units available. Thinking of this, Yi Chun directly chose the Bloodline Promotion talent. The simulation starts. Initial talents. Double Food Purple, Charisma Gold, Bloodline Enhancement Purple. Random Territory. Area 66 of the Northern Continent Dashueyuan. Random Arms. C-Rank Snow Ape. C-Rank Snow Ape. As the name suggests, it's perfect for colder environments. Moreover, the Snow Ape is a biological unit, which can use the talent Bloodline to improve evolution. Seeing the scroll bar appearing on the right side of the simulator interface, Yi Chun was filled with excitement. The number of days to survive this time must be very long, and it will not only have a simple one-page interface like before. Day 1. You use your bloodline to improve your talent. The C-level Snow Ape successfully evolved into a B-level Violent Ape, and you summon 3 Violent Apes. They are huge in size, covered with long white hair, and their 2 sharp claws reflect the color of blood. You found that the B-level Violent Ape can grow up to the 7th level and has the skill, Enhanced Claw. Under your command, Violent Ape quickly cleared the monsters in front of the territory, and then you used energy points and wood to build the first granary. The first level granary can store 1,000 units of food, and you now have 36 units of food. Violent Ape is awesome. Yi Chun didn't expect the B-level unit to be so strong. It is estimated that the encounter with the snow monster and the like will be instantly killed. Day 2. After the granary was built, you supported many lords who were short of food on the world channel, but even if you had double food talents, you still couldn't help so many people at all. You plan to distribute the food tomorrow, but someone immediately starts calling you hypocritical. You are outraged and decide not to support others for free. You use power points to summon 2 Violent Apes, then command them to go out of their territory to hunt. Yi Chun frowned. Funding others really seemed like something he could do. After all, in the previous simulation, no one responded when I asked for help, and I could feel the feeling of being alone and helpless. But this time, it seems that other lords are really not good things, and it is hypocrisy not to help you. It would be better not to help in the first place. Day 3. Violent Ape returns with a full load. Your lord level has been raised to a lower level, you feel full of strength, and your ability to resist cold has greatly improved. You exchanged food for the materials needed for the upgrade, upgraded the first level snow house to a second level snow fort, and increased the range of your territory by 500 yards. At the same time, the upper limit of your summoned arms has been increased, and there is a very low probability of summoning special arms. Seeing this, Yi Chun couldn't help showing a smile. He could imagine himself sitting in the snow fort, waiting for the formation formed by the violent apes to go hunting, and then summoning violent apes himself, a virtuous circle. Sure enough, the next few days did not go as Yi Chun expected. Day 4. The novice protection period is over, and your territory is in full swing to build a new snow house for the violent ape to live in. There are no snow monsters roaring around to make you very comfortable. Day 5. The number of violent apes increased to 10, and the monsters around the territory were quickly wiped out. Messages for help come from the World Channel from time to time, but you ignore them, but you will exchange some wood and minerals with snow wolf meat. Day 6. The number of your violent apes reaches 12. You organize them into 2 teams, one team goes hunting, and the other team is responsible for protecting the territory. You build fences around your territory that sound an alarm when they're breached. Day 7. The hunting formation hasn't returned yet, so you're a little uneasy. In the evening, the hunting formation finally came back, and you found that the prey they harvested this time did not trigger the talent of double food, because it was too far outside the territory. You decide to save enough materials to upgrade snow forts so that you can expand your territory. Day 8. You don't dare to summon new violent apes. Although they are powerful in battle, they have an amazing appetite. You find that you can't afford to keep so many. The food is not enough to make ends meet, so you can only send some violent apes guarding the territory to participate in hunting. Day 9. You found a lot of snow monster footprints outside the fence, but you didn't take it to heart, because violent ape can easily hunt and kill them. The world announcement shows that the first wave of beast swarm will come in 7 days. You are both happy and afraid. The attack of the beast swarm can bring a lot of food and energy points, but you don't know whether you can successfully resist it. Yi Chun was a little nervous. It seems that unlimited summoning of violent apes is not a good idea, because Dashueyuan's supplies are scarce, and it is easy to cause a food deficit. And 7 days later, there will be a wave of beasts. Yi Chun took out his mobile phone and recorded. The first wave of beasts will appear on the 16th day. Day 10. The territory was attacked by the Snow Monster King. It led a large number of snow monsters to destroy the fence and then destroy the granary. Fortunately, the hunting formation came back in time and desperately protected the snow fort. The Snow Monster King left. You suffered heavy losses, only 8 violent apes remained. Yi Chun didn't expect that his territory would be attacked by the Snow Monster King before the beast tide started. No wonder I saw the footprints of the snow monster yesterday. It turned out that it had scouted the territory in advance. Speaking of which level of monster the Snow Monster King is, he actually has wisdom. It seems that I must not take it lightly. A monster with wisdom is difficult to deal with. Day 11. Due to the destruction of the granary, your food supply has decreased sharply. Fortunately, the snow monsters killed yesterday can last for a while. Day 12. The Snow Monster King is wandering around the territory again. You hate it, but it moves too fast, and it is difficult for the violent ape to catch it. You saw a message on the World Channel that many lords in the Great Snowfield area were attacked by the Snow Monster King, and some were even directly killed. You come up with a guess. Could the Snow Monster King also be able to raise his rank like a lord? 13th day. You live in panic, and all the violent apes stay in the territory to defend. Someone on the World Channel revealed that rare blueprints will be obtained after killing powerful monsters. Your first reaction is the Snow Monster King, but you know very well that you are not its opponent. Day 14. You live in panic. Day 15. You live in panic. Day 16. The horde of beasts strikes. The Snow Monster King leads a large number of snow monsters to break through the fence. The snow castle is breached, and before you die, you see the core of the lord being swallowed by it. You are dead. The simulation is over, your survival time is 16 days, and the cooling time is 64 minutes. The host's simulated Lord level is the first order superior this time, and the next simulation will receive an increase in experience points. Can the Snow Monster King devour the core of the Lord? No wonder he couldn't defeat it even with a B-level unit. Who knows how many weaker lords it devoured before fighting itself. It is simply a growth boss. And someone on the World Channel said that killing this kind of boss will give you blueprints, which is information worth recording. But this time the survival time has become longer, and I also learned that the first round of Beast Tide will break out on the 16th day. Yi Chun secretly remembered. Next time, we must pay attention to controlling the number of troops. We can't even distribute food like this time. Since the simulator cooling time increases sequentially, this time the cooling time is as much as 1 hour. Yi Chun first fixed the purple talent bloodline upgrade on the card slot. Then he opened the panel. Add this time's territory and arms to the pre-selection area. After adding, the host can directly use the territories and units in the pre-selected area for the next simulation. Yi Chun's purpose is simple. On the one hand, I want to seek revenge from the Snow Monster King, and at the same time, see if I can get the rare blueprint. On the other hand, because the cooldown is multiplied with each simulation, the shorter the survival time, the more efficient the selection of talents. The environment of the big snow field is dangerous, but it is very suitable for Yi Chun to carry out simulations again and again. While waiting for the cooling time, Yi Chun was not idle. He screened domestic places with mild climate and rich resources on the internet. Zhonglo City seems to be pretty good there. It's not that cold, and the terrain conditions are not bad. You should be able to randomize to a better area. Zunan City is also very good. It is close to the largest wildlife sanctuary. It is like spring all year round. It seems that it can slowly expand its territory. Yi Chun looks left and right, and feels that going anywhere is much more comfortable than now. I can survive for 16 days in this kind of hell difficulty. When I go to other places, I don't know how many times the survival time will be doubled. Yi Chun finally chose 3 places: Zhonglo City, Zunan City and Jingyi Island. Jingyi Island is one of the few tropical islands in Long Guo. It covers a large area and has been developed to form a good resort island. The most important thing is that these 3 places span almost the entire Long nation from north to south, and simulations can also be carried out on the way. The simulator has cooled down. Yi Chun breathed a sigh of relief, his eyes sharpened. Snow Monster King, this time I will let you pay for my life. Start random selection of 10 talents. Light up the light bulb blue, the intelligence of the troops will be improved. Set up camp blue, the expansion of the territory is accelerating. There are only 2 blue talents, so choose to light the light bulb. It is always good for the unit to be smart. Really, in the territory, units can act according to Yi Chun's will. But when they go out to hunt, Yi Chun can't command them at any time, it all depends on the intelligence and hunting instinct of the arms. The violent ape chosen by Yi Chun in the last simulation has certain intelligence, territorial awareness, and will come back to rescue the Lord. The simulation starts. Initial talent. Double food purple, charisma gold, bloodline enhancement purple, light bulb blue. There are arms in the pre-selection area for host arms. Do you choose C-level snow ape? Confirm. There is a territory in the pre-selection area of the host territory. Do you want to choose the number 66 area of the northern continent Dashueyuan? Confirm. Initial territory. Area 66 of the northern continent Dashueyuan. Initial unit. C-level snow ape. Through the pre-selection function, you should also be able to meet the Snow Monster King this time. Day 1. You didn't use the talent bloodline to improve, but directly summoned 5 C-level snow apes. They look much smaller than the grizzly apes, but enough to deal with the Yeti. Snow apes have become very smart with the addition of the talent to light bulbs. You can see them picking up stones and chasing snow monsters outside their territory. In the evening, your Lord level will be raised to the 1st rank. Day 2. You summon 3 C-level snow apes, and then use the talent bloodline upgrade to evolve the unit into a B-level violent ape, and you summon 2 violent apes. You organize the team into 2 teams with 1 violent ape and 4 snow apes. One team is dedicated to hunting, and the other team is searching for traces of the Snow Monster King. Yi Chun found that his strategy had also changed a lot. Instead of raising the bloodline at the beginning, he first summoned the snow ape to reduce consumption. It seems that before the simulation, the thoughts in reality will also affect the operation after entering the simulation. It is still in the 3-day novice protection period, so there is no need to guard the territory. In this way, you can hunt and find the snow monster king at the same time. Day 3. You inquired about the traces of other lords on the world channel, and found that there is not only one snow monster king, they only move in the big snowfield in the extremely cold permafrost area. You trade with other lords to obtain materials, and upgrade the first level snow house to the second level snow fort. The search formation came back, and Violent Ape waved his hand, as if to tell you that the giant snow monster king was not found. Day 4. The novice protection period is over, and the area around the territory is peaceful. You summon 3 violent apes to protect the territory. In the evening, both the hunting formation and the search formation returned with their prey, but there was still no trace of the snow monster king. According to Yi Chun's analysis, in the last simulation, a large number of snow monsters were found on the 9th day, and then they were attacked by the snow monster king on the 10th day. So now, the snow monster king is likely to be hunting other lords, and has not come near his own territory. Day 5. A few snow wolves entered your territory, and were quickly killed by Violent Ape. You plan to summon 2 more Violent Apes to protect the territory, but luck explodes and you summon a special unit called Shadow Ape. It is pitch black and about the size of a common monkey. Possesses the unique skill, Ink Line, which can transform oneself into a pool of shadows and move quickly. You get excited and send it out to search for the Yeti King. Yi Chun waved his fist excitedly, his character finally exploded once. A special type of unit, Shadow Ape. From its size and skill description, it can be seen that it is not suitable for combat at all, but it can move quickly and hide its body, which is perfect for scouting work. Day 6. Shadow Ape drew a rough map on the ground, and you can tell that this is the situation around his territory, and the distance it travels is much farther than that of Violent Ape. So you let the Shadow Apes search alone, change the search formation to a hunting formation, accumulate energy points, and prepare to build the stone wall. Day 7. You were eating roasted wolf meat in Snow Fort, and Shadow Ape came back in a hurry. It drew 2 large circles far apart on the ground, then crossed one of them. You immediately understand that this means that a lord has been destroyed, and it is not far from your own territory. The Snow Monster King is very likely to be there. Finally found its trace. Sure enough, as expected, the Snow Monster King was constantly attacking each territory to strengthen its own power. Fortunately, there is a special unit, the Shadow Ape, who can discover its location in advance. Day 8. You send Shadow Ape to explore the terrain in the direction of the Snow Monster King with all your strength, and prepare for an ambush. You have built a first-level workshop, which is an exquisite log cabin next to Snow Fort. You can make a lot of useful tools in the workshop. Obviously, Violent Ape cannot operate the workshop, so you have to do it yourself. Day 9. You saw Violent Ape clean up the snow monsters outside the territory. According to the map drawn by Shadow Ape, the Snow Monster King stopped on the northern hillside. From the hillside to his own territory is a narrow rift. You make 10 bear traps and arrange for Shadow Apes to plant them in the rift. The hunting formation is already on standby in the territory, and they are sent by you to both sides of the Rift Valley, ready to attack the Yeti King. Day 10. The Snow Monster King did not act. This is beyond your expectation. The last time he launched a surprise attack was today. You don't know if the Snow Monster King noticed the ambush, or because he accidentally killed the snow monster yesterday. But you decided to stand still and let Shadow Ape continue to investigate the movements of the Snow Monster King. Seeing this, Yi Chun couldn't help becoming nervous. The snow monster footprints appeared on the 9th day before, indicating that the Snow Monster King will step on the spot in advance when attacking. And this time the snow monster who came to investigate was killed by himself, which may cause the Snow Monster King to give up this territory, etc. Yi Chun found that he had overlooked one point. He didn't build a fence or a stone wall this time. It is very likely that it is deliberately showing weakness and seducing it to attack itself. 11th day. There was a roaring sound from the direction of the Rift Valley. It seems that the Snow Monster King still did not resist the temptation and chose to take the initiative to attack. You stand in the snow fortress ready to build a stone wall at any time to prevent the snow monster king from invading the territory. The rift is full of traps, and there are 10 violent apes and 8 snow apes on both sides. This is your strongest combat power. Day 12. The snow monster king's wailing resounded through the sky, and his huge figure fell to the open space in front of the territory. The snow monster king was finally killed by you. You have gained a lot of energy points and experience points, and the lord level has been raised from the first lower level to the first upper level. There are 5 violent apes left, and 3 snow apes left, and their levels have been raised by 1 level on average. You opened the treasure chest dropped by the Yeti King and obtained the blueprint of the rare level defensive building, Ice Spear Spire. It can be built on the wall fortifications, and can automatically shoot ice spears forward to attack. Up to 4 ice spear pinnacles can be built in the second level territory, and you decide to build them before the beast tide comes. Finally, revenge. Yi Chun felt very happy. Fortunately, I detected the news of the snow monster king in advance, so I didn't startle the snake, but chose to continue to ambush. Otherwise, looking at the battle loss ratio, half of the violent apes died in the sneak attack. If they fought head-on, they would definitely not be able to defeat the snow monster king and his subordinates. But high risk means high reward. The snow monster king really will explode the blueprint. The Ice Spear Spire is a rare level architectural blueprint, which is definitely much easier to use than animal traps and the like. Although only 4 can be built now, it should be more than enough to fight the first wave of beasts. 13th day. You start the inventory work after the war. Since the snow monster king finally fell in front of the territory, you successfully obtained 2 corpses of the snow monster king through the double food talent. You found that there is a monster crystal nucleus in the body of this snow monster king. You have obtained 2 snow monster crystal cores, which can be converted into a large number of energy points, or become materials for making weapons. Your workshop level is too low and you don't get any blueprints for weapons. So you converted 1 snow monster crystal nucleus into energy points, and exchanged the other one with other lords for a large amount of supplies. You increased the number of violent apes to 16, and then built a stone wall around the territory. Seeing the majestic stone walls gives you a sense of security. This snow monster crystal core is a good thing. Yi Chun's eyes lit up when he saw that it could be converted into a large amount of energy points. With so many energy points, the Ice Spear Spire can also be built. Day 14. You build your first Ice Lance Spire on a stone wall. It is about 2 meters high, and the hole is made of deep blue crystals. There are 4 arc-shaped holes in the front, and each hole can be charged to launch an ice gun. You tried to fire an ice gun, and the thick prism plunged into the snow with a bang, blasting out a white mist. It took a lot of effort for Violent Ape to pull the ice gun out. You're happy with the power of the Ice Spear Spire, but you're a little distressed at the cost of energy points each time you fire it. Day 15. The beast tide is approaching, and you have built ice spear pinnacles in all 4 directions of the territory. There are many lords on the world channel sending distress messages. They are quite afraid of the beast tide, and you are fully prepared. The 16 violent apes were recharging their batteries in the territory, and the shadow apes were still in charge of scouting outside. As night falls, you ate a piece of meat from the snow monster king, and you feel a lot less tired. It seems that you can sleep well today. Day 16. The ground trembled violently, and white fog rose from the horizon in the distance. You saw countless monsters with blood-red eyes rushing towards the territory from a distance, completely exceeding the number of the last beast tide. The snow wolf and the snow monster were bigger than before, the hairs on their bodies stood on end, and they frantically rushed towards the violent ape. Every shot from the Ice Lance Spire will harvest a large amount of energy points, so you don't have to worry about the consumption of energy points at all. In the center of the beast tide, an astonishingly large frost turtle slowly pushed forward, and the ice spear could only leave shallow dents on the turtle's shell. You are quick and witty, and order Violent Ape to overthrow it with all your strength. The fighting continued until sunset. In the setting sun, you raised the ice gun in your hand and ended the life of the turtle, and the beast tide finally came to an end. Yi Chun let out a long sigh of relief. It seems that this time, relying on the Ice Spear Spire, I successfully survived the beast tide. But I didn't expect that the first wave of beasts would be so dangerous, and all monsters had different levels of enhancement. There will also be elite monsters that have not been seen before. For example, the frost turtle this time is very restrained from the ice spear spire output by the standing pile. Fortunately, I have the gold talent of charisma, and I can order Violent Ape to forcibly overturn the turtle, otherwise even if there is a stone wall, it will be pushed flat by it. Day 17. You wake up in the snow fortress. Last night there are still monsters from the beast horde attacking, but they were all driven out of the territory by Violent Ape. You check the discussions of other lords on the World Channel and find that the scale of the beast horde varies greatly from region to region. In terms of the degree of danger, the Dashueyuan area can definitely be ranked among the top few. You see that many weak lords have survived the beast tide, and you feel very unwilling. But then, the World Channel began to distribute rewards for this beast tide, which gave you a lot of balance in your heart. Rewards are determined according to the strength of the beast tide and the number of monsters eliminated. Your lord level is raised to the second level intermediate, you get a lot of energy points, and you get a treasure chest. You open treasure chests to get special tool blueprints for a sloop. Yi Chun called it a pity. In the area of this big snowfield, even if there are rivers, they must all be frozen, hidden deep under the ice. A means of transportation like a dhow is completely tasteless. Day 18. You saw someone on the World Channel saying that he got the purple talent after opening the treasure chest. You try to exchange blueprints with other lords, but no one responds. Day 19. After the beast tide, your granary has accumulated more than 800 units of food. But the number of monsters around has decreased significantly, you can only rely on Shadow Ape to search first, and then send out hunting formations. Day 20. The wind outside the snow castle is getting louder and louder, and you see dense clouds in the sky. Violent Ape is tearing and biting raw meat in the igloo, only Shadow Ape is beside you with an anxious expression on his face. You have decided not to send hunting formations out of the territory today. Day 21. A blizzard is coming, and you can hardly see the situation outside the territory. Luckily there's plenty of food in the granary, and you're burning up the fire in the snow fort, waiting out the blizzard. Day 22. The blizzard is still going on, you fed Shadow Ape a piece of turtle meat. Day 23. The blizzard is still going on, and the 4 ice spear pinnacles have been completely covered by snow. Do you think that in this kind of weather, no matter how powerful a monster is, it is impossible to come out for a stroll? Day 24. You heard a roar from above the territory, and all the Violent Apes howled angrily at the sky. A moment later, there was a deafening roar outside the territory. You stand in front of the window, staring at the huge pupils emitting yellow light outside the glass. It's the frost dragon. You are dead. The simulation is over. Your survival time is 24 days, and the cooldown time is 192 minutes. The host simulation lord level is the second order intermediate this time, and the next simulation will receive an increase in experience points. This simulation obtained the rare level defense blueprint, Ice Spear Spire, and the special tool blueprint, Sloop, and the next simulation will automatically join the workshop. The Frost Dragon, who the hell can stand up to this? Fortunately, the blueprints obtained in the simulation can be inherited, and the next simulation can be obtained as long as the workshop is established. Although he doesn't know the law of the appearance of the Frost Dragon, Yi Chun doesn't intend to find a way to kill it like he did with the Yeti King. Because the Snow Monster King at least showed himself a scene of devouring the core of the Lord, and the Frost Dragon was instantly killed after seeing it, and he didn't even know how he died. This cooling time is a full 3 hours. It was almost time for dinner, so Yi Chun decided to go out and get some ingredients first. He emptied the suitcase, then pulled out a dozen plastic bags, each tied with a knot, and put them in the suitcase. The temperature outside was 10 degrees below zero. Yi Chun put on a heavy down jacket, put on gloves, and set off with a suitcase fully armed, heading straight to the largest seafood market nearby. Standing in front of the largest store in the seafood market, Yi Chun saw several large Australian lobsters in the water tank. "Boss, pick me an Australian dragon." The boss used a net to pick up the largest dragon in the water tank. "Young man, what do you think?" Yi Chun stretched out his hand to touch Aolong's tentacles, and then there was a clatter in the suitcase. "No need. Do you still have king crabs? Let's see." Just like that, Yi Chun dragged his suitcase around the seafood market, and then came out with a bag of side dishes and seasonings. In Yi Chun's eyes, most expensive seafood in the market has an extra label. Double food talent has been triggered. Back to the rental house. Yi Chun opened the suitcase. The king crab's long legs were stretching its teeth and claws, and the A-long next it was crunching the oyster shell. The price of seafood in this world is still very high, especially this kind of seafood that needs to be transported by air, which can cost thousands of dollars per piece. Yi Chun didn't use any advanced cooking methods, and simply processed it according to the steps on the internet, partly fried and partly steamed. Garlic oysters exude a peculiar aroma. Crack the crab legs, and the shredded crab meat will whet your appetite. Fresh, tender and sweet. Soon a table of seafood feast entered Yi Chun's stomach. Not bad, waiting to go to the supreme continent. I will eat monster meat every day. I don't know how it tastes. Eat and drink enough. Yi Chun turned on his mobile phone and borrowed tens of thousands of dollars from various financial software. Anyway, he will be selected as a lord in 7 days, and Blue Star will probably be in chaos. The faster way to get to Zhonglo City from here is by high-speed rail or plane. It takes a long time to take the high-speed rail, and the ticket price is more expensive than the air ticket, so Yi Chun finally chooses to start by air. Use your mobile phone to book an air ticket for tomorrow morning and a hotel with a good reputation in Zhonglo City. The simulator has cooled down. Yi Chun opened the simulator panel. Simulate it again and go to bed. Get up early tomorrow to catch the plane. Start random selection of 10 talents. Defensive formation, blue, in your territory, the attack power and defense power of all arms increases by 15%. White, your arms can be very passionate in battle. This simulation only has one blue talent, but the stats are not bad and will be useful when defending. There are arms in the pre-selection area for host arms. Do you choose sea-level snow ape? Yi Chun was lost in thought. This time, you can use random arms, or you can continue to use the snow ape. Random arms are a gamble on luck. If you can randomly produce powerful arms, you can even challenge whether you can kill the frost dragon. But Yi Chun wants to confirm one more thing now, that is whether he can get the treasure chests of the Snow Monster King and the Beast Tide again. So this time I still chose the arms and areas in the pre-selection area. The only difference from the last simulation is the new talent. The simulation starts. Initial talent. Double food, purple, charisma, gold. Defensive formation, blue. Initial territory. Area 66 of the northern continent Dashueyuan. Initial unit. Sea level snow ape. The development of the previous few days was the same as before. Yi Chun flicked across quickly, looking directly at the day that killed the Snow Monster King. Day 12. The Snow Monster King's huge figure fell on the open space in front of the territory. You opened the treasure chest dropped by the Snow Monster King, and you only got a lot of energy points. Really, after obtaining the blueprint for the Ice Spear Spire, you cannot get it again. The development after the end of the Beast Tide is also similar. Day 17. You wake up from the bed and open the treasure chest rewarded by the Beast Tide, but there are still no new blueprints. According to your analysis, the rewards of the Beast Tide are probably related to the Frost Demon Turtle, because after killing the Frost Demon Turtle, no treasure chest will be dropped. I see. It seems that in order to obtain new treasure chests in the Beast Tide, other elite monsters must appear. Yi Chun nodded thoughtfully, and turned to the last page. Day 21. The blizzard is coming as promised, and you start to think about how to deal with the Frost Dragon. Day 22. You set up a lot of traps in the territory, and at the same time turn the direction of the Ice Spear Spire. Day 23. When you open the granary to eat raw meat, all the violent apes are recharging their energy. Day 24. You look at the sky worriedly, and snowflakes fall on your face. In the territory, Violent Ape stood in place, covered with thick snow, as if he was facing a formidable enemy. When the loud dragon chant sounded, the 4 ice spears sprayed together. You raised your head, a huge figure loomed in the blizzard, only 2 dragon eyes emitting yellow light stared at you in the air. Bitter cold wind blows through the territory. You are dead. The simulation is over, your survival time is 24 days, and the cooldown time is 192 minutes. The host simulation lord level is the 2nd level superior this time, and the next simulation will receive an increase in experience points. Or not. Yi Chun didn't have any hope at first, so he took out his mobile phone and began to summarize his experience. Through these several simulations, it can be seen that the difference between the arms is greater than that of humans and dogs. Tomorrow, go to Zhonglo City and try to choose random arms. After the territory is upgraded, there is a chance to call special arms, which can greatly improve combat capabilities. It is very possible to obtain other blueprints in the new area, which can be added to the workshop after the simulation is over. Finally, leave this ghostly place quickly, I don't want to see the frost dragon again. The next day, Yi Chun woke up very early with only his mobile phone and backpack. This time, I want to temporarily settle down in Zhonglo City, and leave for Zunan City after a few days. So after getting off the plane, go to the mall to buy clothes and so on, and you don't need to drag your suitcase around. Waiting hall. Yi Chun felt that many eyes swept over him intentionally or unintentionally, and whenever he raised his head, they disappeared instantly. Could it be that the small loan business has been exposed? Not long after being asked for a mobile phone number by a girl, Yi Chun realized that with the change of his natural charisma, he has become a handsome guy who is not inferior to the reader. The passenger plane whizzed past the clouds. Yi Chun unbuckled his seatbelt and stretched his neck a little. It takes about 3 hours to fly, so let's do a simulation first. Start random selection of 10 talents. Gold God is always watching everything, but he never speaks. Thinking and budgeting, blue, the consumption of all your buildings is reduced by 10%. Yi Chun suppressed the excitement in his heart. This is the second gold talent I have seen. God is always watching, but he never speaks. The introduction of talents made Yi Chun scratching his head, but as long as he entered the simulation, he would know everything. The simulation starts. Initial talent. Double food, purple, charisma, gold. God's eyes, gold. This time, we don't need the arms and territories in the pre-selection area, they are all random. Random territory. Area 55 in the misty forest of the Sky Continent. Random arms. C-class wingman. Sky Continent. Yi Chun was taken aback. Is there still a part of the continent suspended in the air? Day 1. You have come to this new continent, and the core of the Lord is stored in a log cabin. You choose to summon 5 sea-level wingmen, and then there are 5 more cyan eggs in front of the core of the Lord. The comment given by God's eyes makes you very happy. The winged race is egg-laying, and these eggs can be successfully hatched in an hour. You can see that the world channel has changed, there is no news from other regions here, and all the lords of the Sky Continent are speaking. An hour later, 5 winged men with gray wings broke out of their shells, and you found that their faces still kept the features of birds, and you could tell that they were all females based on their stature. Through the information given by God's eye, you saw 4D level first-order blue-eyed demon snakes in the south of the territory, so you sent wingmen to hunt them. At night, you eat grilled snake meat in the open space and enjoy the warmth brought by the campfire. The ability of God's eye turns out to be a comment to give relevant information. This talent, coupled with his ability to simulate many times, is almost omnipotent. The situation in the Sky Continent is different from that in the Northern Continent. According to the information of World Channel, it seems to be isolated from the outside world. This is worth noting. Maybe the simulation is over, and I should add this initial territory to the pre-selection area. Day 2. You use your bloodline to improve your talent, and evolve the C-level wingman into a B-level celestial being. You summon 3 celestial beings, and there are 3 pale green eggs in front of the Lord's core. 2 hours later, 3 female celestial beings were born. They have a pair of blue wings on their backs, and their chests are covered with white feathers. With the skill Blitz, you can attack the enemy with extremely fast speed. You let the celestial beings grab your hands and successfully lift you up into the air. The misty forest stretches as far as the eye can see, and there is a towering mountain in the east of the territory. God's eyes gave a comment that there is a pterosaur's lair there. Wood resources are abundant here, and you have built a first-level granary and a first-level workshop. Day 3. Winged man and celestial man get along well. Although they are not as powerful as Violent Ape, they are flexible and can fly into the air to attack at any time. It's also very pleasing to watch as you watch them hunt. Celestials like to catch monsters and fly into the air, and then drop them outside the territory, which happens to trigger the double food talent. Your Lord level will soon rise to the first level, and feeling the power brought by the promotion, you even want to go out yourself. You upgrade the first level wooden house to a second level stone castle, which is not conspicuous, surrounded by giant ancient trees. Day 4. The novice protection period is over, and the two celestial beings hover over the territory, and no monster dares to approach. You summoned 5 celestial beings, and 5 eggs appeared in front of the Lord's core, one of which was covered with black patterns, which was incompatible with the other 4. You know that your character has exploded, and you summoned a special type of unit again. Through the inspection of God's eyes, this black egg will give birth to the fallen man, who has the special skill of soul whip. Day 5. After one night, the fallen man was born. It is no different from other celestial beings, except that its skin has become dark purple, and strange patterns are outlined on its arms and chest. The soul flay skill is very powerful. You see the scavenging wolf freeze in place as if struck by lightning, and then its throat is easily ripped open by the fallen man. You build a number of stakes around the territory, then have the celestials sharpen the tops and outline the bloodletting troughs on the sides. They are very clever, and immediately learn to throw their prey in the air and onto the stakes, as if it is a new game. Day 6. You like the feeling when the celestial beings take you into the air, as if you also learn to fly. Celestial beings eat much less than violent ape, so you summon 8 more celestial beings. You build many tree houses on the giant trees in your territory, they like it very much, and often shuttle between the branches. Day 7. You wake up in bed with a sharp pain in your eyes. You look around, God Eye gives a hint, and an enraged ogre appears in the west. You run out of the stone castle and see a cloud of smoke in the distance. The nearly 3-meter-tall ogre approached, it opened its mouth and bared its fangs, roaring. Holding a mace covered in dark brown blood in his hand, he was waving it into the air. Heavenly beings circled above its head, leaving a deep scar on its back from time to time. The ogre found you, and it rushed towards you like crazy, regardless of its own scars. Suddenly, its figure stopped outside the territory, and the fallen man showed a mocking smile. You spread your hands and build a spire of ice lances in front of the ogre. When the ogre regained its sanity, 4 icicles shot out from the spire of the ice spear, pinning it to the ground. Celestial beings cheered in the air. You see a brand new chest dropped by the ogre. You opened the treasure chest and got the rare level defensive blueprint, charging ballista. It costs much less than the ice spear spire, but can only fire 2 bolts at a time. When you lament Ji Shengyu and He Shengliang, you find something is wrong. Because of the sunlight, ice spear spire, it's starting to melt. Yi Chun looked at white cloud in the window helplessly. Who would have thought of this? An ice spear spire can betray itself. But Yi Chun also understands this kind of thing. The blueprint for the ice spear spire should only exist in the northern continent, and it is a bit unacceptable to use it in other places. But this time the ogre broke out the blueprint of the charged ballista, which is still a consolation prize. At least the construction consumes less energy points. The big deal is to build a few more. Day 8. You built the first rechargeable ballista, which is about 1 meter long and has a deep groove in the middle. A giant arrow will be generated at the groove every time it is launched, and energy points and a small amount of wood will be consumed. You test fire a shot into the distance. A figure rushed out following the direction of the arrow in an instant. Not long after, the celestial man returned with a grin and flapped his wings, holding the fired arrow at his feet. Seeing the eager eyes of other celestial beings, you have to spend some energy points to let them play enough. Yi Chun wanted to laugh but couldn't. Is the human nature of this day a dog? Let's imagine. A dozen girls of different races with girls' faces will act like a baby to you, even if it costs materials, they will satisfy their wishes. 9th day. You scanned the corpses of the 2 ogre with your god eye, and there is no magic core inside. But the mace in its hand was still stuck on the ground. Your lord level is the 2nd level intermediate, and under the enhancement of the Constitution promotion, you can barely drag the mace to the workshop. If the unit is Violent Ape, it is definitely a handy weapon. It's a pity that the Celestial Man is about the same size as you, so he can't lift such a super standard weapon. You use power points to build a first level smelting furnace in the workshop and start dissolving mace overnight. Day 10. You use the pig iron and logs obtained by dismantling to forge 15 hatchets. Under your teaching, Heavenly Man can successfully throw a hatchet for long-range attacks. The fallen man disdains this, but when you hand it a small dagger, it pins the dagger to its waist as if it had found a treasure. Day 11. You find that the granary is full of 1,000 units of food. Because there are not only various monsters in the foggy forest, but also edible fruits. Yiren and Tianren have unique advantages, and they can easily harvest a large handful of fruits. You build a second Tier 1 granary and upgrade the workshop to Tier 2 at the same time. After upgrading the workshop, many new prop blueprints are unlocked. In order to make more tools, you find yourself in desperate need of iron ore. Yi Chun is very interested in new tools. In previous simulations, it seems that the first level workshop can only make simple props such as bear traps. And I even considered using bear traps to deal with the frost dragon. Now that the second level workshop has been established, new props have been unlocked. I don't know if there is iron ore near the territory, or if it is possible to trade some iron ore from other lords. There are still 5 days left for the beast swarm, so I don't know the difference between the beast swarm in the sky continent. Day 12. You exchange wild fruits for a lot of materials, including a lot of metal ores. You made a piece of light armor in the workshop, the quality is only common level. Celestials like it very much, but after wearing it, the flying speed becomes very slow, and you have to give up the idea of arming them. 13th day. You built a stone wall around the territory, and at the same time made 8 rechargeable ballistas, and placed them on the stone wall. The celestial beings are getting more and more proficient in throwing axes, and you can see that many monsters have only a clean slit on their necks. You have patrolled the territory with the help of celestial beings. Under the inspection of God's eyes, 3 gathering places of monsters were found. You decide to clean up the monsters in these 3 places before the beast horde comes. Yi Chun was a little emotional. In the northern continent, I was always worried about whether there was a food deficit. And now they still worry that there are too many monsters to withstand the royal beast tide. However, this is also related to the strength of the arms. If it is replaced by other weak arms, the territory may have been flattened by the ogres. Day 14. You saw the gap in the blade of the hatchet in the hand of the celestial being, so you made more hatchets in the workshop. Day 15. The gathering points of the 3 monsters have been cleared by the celestial beings. Although the double food talent is not triggered, you still get a lot of food and energy points, and the lord level has been raised to the 2nd tier upper class. You increase the number of celestial beings to 20 and let them recharge in the tree house. 5 wingmen circled around the territory for vigilance. You became nervous for no reason. The beast tide is coming. Many lords on the world channel said that they would kill more than one. You sent a message to pay attention to defense, and you were quickly ridiculed. Will the beast tide in the sky continent be simpler than that in the northern continent? Yi Chun put a question mark in his heart. But he still understands the principle of being prepared for danger in times of peace. Even if it is simple, he must take it seriously to prevent the car from rolling over. Day 16. You sit restlessly in a chair, and there is an eerie silence in the air. The wingman had flown back 3 times and brought back the same message, no trace of any monsters. You even suspect that all the monsters are invisible, so you use the God Eye to scan every corner of the territory. In the World Channel, all the lords felt very disappointed, and many people sent their troops to explore the monster's lair. Near noon, but you feel that the sun is gradually dimming, and a dark cloud appears in the sky. Like other lords, you look up at the sky. Then it started to rain. Countless monsters roared down from the sky. Scavenging wolves, goblins, swamp frogs, ripworms, vampire bats. Falling to the ground doesn't seem to do them any harm, and hordes of monsters pounce on you from inside and outside of your territory. The celestial beings grabbed your shoulders and tried to lift you into the air, but you were hit by a falling monster and lost your balance. Fortunately, other celestial beings took over and carried you to the rock castle. You turn the charged ballista to the direction of the arrow, giving priority to dealing with the monsters in the territory. Celestial beings spontaneously form a formation to hover around you, using hatchets and claws to kill surrounding monsters, while avoiding threats in the air. You fully control the 8 charged ballistas, try to make sure that you don't miss a shot. You've lost count of how many bolts you've fired. When the sun hits the territory again, you put up your hand to block the sun, and it's finally over. You call this a beast tide. Yi Chun felt a big hole in his heart. This is too scary. Yi Chun quickly took a sip of water to suppress his shock. The degree of danger in the Sky Continent is different from that in the Northern Continent. The Northern Continent has a harsh environment, poor resources, and powerful monsters. Head-to-head with strength like a real man. And Tian Dalu doesn't play cards according to the routine. No matter how strong you are, if you don't defend in the territory, you will only end up being flooded by monster rain. Before the beast horde, there were abundant resources, and the infestation of weak monsters was nothing more than boiling frogs in warm water. Just when you let down your vigilance, I will give you a fatal blow. Fortunately, I had made sufficient preparations in advance, and always stuck to the territory and did not leave. Finally, he managed to survive the beast tide in the Sky Continent. Day 17. You saw that in the World Channel, several lords who were active every day disappeared. Those who survived were also very careful when speaking. Most of them were trading resources to repair the facilities that were smashed by monsters. The rewards for the beast tide began to be distributed, and everyone got a treasure chest and a lot of building resources. You opened the treasure chest, and a metal Rubik's Cube condensed in the palm of your hand. Its name is the Lucky Cube, and it is an epic item. Every time you press the white cube in the center, the Rubik's Cube will be randomly disrupted, and it will provide a temporary lucky value bonus after recovery. You briefly tried it, put it aside, and started to repair the buildings in the territory. Almost all the tree houses of the celestial beings were damaged and needed to be rebuilt. Lucky Cube. Yi Chun remembered that he once bought a Rubik's Cube, and he lost interest after restoring it once according to the instructions. Since it can provide a lucky value bonus, it is worth memorizing the recovery formula by yourself. Chapter 11. 18th Day. You will increase the number of celestial beings to 30, and they fly around in the territory, transporting the corpses of monsters to the granary for decomposition. You built a stronger tree house, so you don't have to worry about being smashed by monsters. The fallen man has used the soul whip many times in the beast tide, and his spirit is a little sluggish, so you decide to let him rest for a while. 19th Day. With the efforts of the heaven and man, the territory has been restored to a tidy state. 2 granaries are full of food. You upgrade one of them to a secondary granary, capable of storing 5,000 units of food. You play with the Lucky's Cube in your spare time, trying to solve it. In the evening, you held a grand bonfire party to celebrate this victory. At the scene, you made a huge target with wooden boards, and competed with the heavenly people for a throwing axe according to the rules of darts. You lost badly. Day 20. You are sitting on a chair trying to recover the Rubik's Cube, but the fallen man kicks open the window and flies in, startling you. It tells you that when other celestial beings were hunting, they met a group of strange-looking people. After questioning, they said that they belonged to another territory. You threw the lucky Rubik's Cube on the table, and told the fallen man with a serious expression, "Prepare to fight." Encountered the troops of other lords. Yi Chun recalled that in previous simulations, interactions with other lords had always been trade material. Although other territories have been found in the Great Snowfield, that unlucky guy has been wiped out by the Snow Monster King. Now in the Sky Continent, this is the first time I meet other lords. Should we cooperate or fight? According to the law of the Dark Forest, under mutual suspicion, there will inevitably be a fight between yourself and the other party. It also passed the screening of the beast tide, indicating that the opponent's strength should not be underestimated. It may even have a more advanced unit than Tianren. Day 21. You summoned 10 more celestial beings, but unfortunately there are still no special units. After questioning, the group of soldiers I met yesterday wore pitch-black armor and a fully wrapped helmet, and their tone was cold. You checked the place where you met yesterday with your eyes, but found no other information. Maybe the opponent's territory is far away from him. If you order to expand the scope of inspection, you must first find the other party's movements. Day 22. You are considering whether to upgrade the second-level stone fortress to a third-level megalithic fortress. According to the proportions of the design drawings, after upgrading to the megalith fortress, the entire territory will be expanded by another 2,000 yards. But Stonehold is going to stand out in the misty forest, and you worry about whether it's going to be an eye-catching target. You decide to find the other party's territory before making a decision. Day 23. Heaven and man still haven't found that team of troops, You even suspect that the territory has been destroyed, and you are playing games with the air. You follow the speeches of other lords on the World Channel. After being baptized by the beast tide, everyone spoke more modestly, but they all smelled of blood. Day 24. You have set up traps and trip wires around the property, and this work puts off your idea of building other facilities. On the World Channel, some lords started to trade food spices. You couldn't resist buying some, which really made the broth much better. Day 25. Heaven and man rushed back in an emergency, and finally found traces of the battle just now. You decide that it is not too late, this time you must use your eyes to find the opponent's territory. The heavenly man grabs your shoulder and flies away, and you use your god eye to explore the traces on the ground. After a while, suddenly, you see a large number of footprints in the open space ahead, and the surrounding tree trunks are covered with traces of swords and swords. You raised your head alertly. Squatting on the tree branch above is a soldier in pitch-black armor. His eyes flashed red, and they lost their luster instantly when they looked at you. You can see that his name is Nether Sentinel, his unit level is A level, he has the skill Sentinel Eye, and he can share vision with the Lord. Tianren suddenly covered his mouth and stared at you with wide eyes. You find your body gradually crumbling to pieces. You were obliterated by the Supreme Continent. The simulation is over, your survival time is 25 days, and the cooldown time is 25 minutes. The host simulation Lord level is the second level superior this time, and the next simulation will receive an increase in experience points. This simulation obtained the rare level defense blueprint, charging ballista, and the next simulation will automatically join the workshop. This simulation obtained the epic level prop, Lucky Rubik's Cube, which has solidified into reality. Wiped out. Yi Chun was a little confused. Obviously everything is going well, and his defense is also in place, looking forward to a life and death battle with the opponent. Although the opposite side is an A-level unit, it is not possible to be obliterated without even seeing the face of the other lord, right? Nether Sentinel feels very similar to Shadow Ape to Yi Chun. It is very likely to be the special type of arms of the lord. Traces of fighting. Shared vision. The red light disappeared instantly after looking at each other. Obliterated by the Supreme Continent. Yi Chun connected these several points together, and suddenly realized, so that's it, I was stolen from my house. Yi Chun guessed. After his own celestial being came into contact with the opponent's arms, the opponent's lord has been hiding in the dark, waiting for the opportunity to attack him. And heaven and man frequently patrol outside the territory, it is very likely that they are in the sight of the other party, and then deduce the approximate location of their own territory. First create battle marks, then use the Nether Sentinel's field of vision to observe, and then attack after confirming that I have left the territory. It's too despicable. But Yi Chun also had to admit that it was a world where the weak preyed on the strong, and if he discovered the other party's territory first, he would do the same thing. The only question now is, how did he bypass the observation of the God Eye and attack my territory? Even if the Ghost Sentinel is a special unit, it doesn't look like it has the ability to fly. We can only guess that the opponent may have powerful lord talents or props from treasure chests. Yi Chun quickly sorted out his mood. My biggest reliance is unlimited simulations. As long as I know the development of things, I can gain a great advantage in the next simulation. Yi Chun first added the arms and territories to the preselection area. C-level winged beings can become B-level celestial beings through bloodline promotion. This is a unit that can fly, and has a high IQ. It can easily learn the skill of throwing a hatchet. Compared with the violent ape, it is more flexible and eats less. As the Sky Continent is isolated from other regions, it may be difficult to randomize to the Sky Continent region in the future, so it is worth temporarily occupying a place in the pre-selection region. God Eye Gold God is always watching everything, but he never speaks. The second gold talent must be fixed to the talent bar. Sudden. A pair of gold eyes composed of countless symbols floated in front of Yi Chun. The eyes blinked and flew into the corners of Yi Chun's eyes. Hey, your eyesight has improved. In the aisle of the plane, the stewardess walked slowly, seeing Yi Chun looking at her, the corners of her lips curled up slightly. Lu Ningning, 23 years old, in good health, preliminaries for the Lord. She is very interested in you now. Sir, do you need any help? No, thank you. Lu Ningning left with a regretful expression. Yi Chun stood up slightly and looked around at the people around him. On this plane, most of the young people were pre-selected by the lords. Unfortunately, when Yi Chun wanted to further check the opponent's arms, he felt an inexplicable obstacle. But there are really so many people who want to become lords. Yi Chun could only silently wish them good luck, at least to survive the beast tide. There are still 10 minutes of cooling time. Yi Chun flipped his wrist, and a slightly pressed metal Rubik's Cube appeared in his palm. Each side of it is a different color and looks extremely delicate. Lucky Rubik's Cube, epic level special props, press the white center button to randomly scramble, and you will get a random lucky value bonus when you restore it. Yi Chun turned the Rubik's Cube casually a few times, and it felt very good. Crack. When Yi Chun pressed the white button, the Rubik's Cube slowly floated in the air, and each edge began to rotate dazzlingly and then fell on his hand. Fortunately, this plane is allowed to connect to Wi-Fi. Check the formula to restore the Rubik's Cube. Yi Chun turned the Rubik's Cube step by step according to the restoration formula, and finally stopped when he was one step away from completion. Casually flipping through a few pages of the Seatback magazine, Yi Chun saw the interface of the simulator jump out in front of him. The simulator has cooled down. Yi Chun exerted a little force with his index finger, and the moment the 6 sides of the Rubik's Cube recovered, he felt a soft force brushing over his head. Start the simulation. Start random selection of 10 talents. The mirror world, gold, reality and illusion are only separated by a bright mirror. The things in the mirror are extremely fragile, but they are also real. Photosynthesis purple, you can replenish nutrients in your body by drinking water and basking in the sun. Infinite strength purple, your unit has 3 times the power, and the physical recovery ability is doubled. Yi Chun felt the power above his head slowly disappear. 1 gold and 2 purples. This lucky value bonus is too outrageous. To be honest, Yi Chun wants to keep these 3 talents. On the surface, photosynthesis solves the hunger problem of the Lord, and it becomes a non-consumable perpetual motion machine on the spot when it cooperates with units that don't need food like skeleton soldiers. But I don't know if there are any side effects, or if roots will grow on the feet. Needless to say, it is infinitely powerful. If it can be used together with a powerful unit like Violent Ape, it will become an absolutely terrifying existence. Mirror World. This kind of Riddleman-like introduction again, it seems that it should be a talent like copying. Yi Chun didn't hesitate too much, although purple talent is very good, but gold talent can never be too much. The simulation starts. There are arms in the pre-selection area for host arms. Do you want to choose? There is a territory in the pre-selection area of the host territory. Do you want to choose? The luck value bonus has disappeared. Yi Chun decided to choose the sea-level wingman unit to ensure that he can survive the beast tide. Of course, the initial territory is the sky continent in the preliminary selection area, and Yi Chun is suddenly looking forward to how he will deal with the beast horde. The simulation starts. Initial talent. Double food purple, charisma gold. God's eyes gold, world in the mirror gold. Initial territory. Area 55 in the misty forest of the sky continent. Initial arms. C-class wingman. Day 1. You use your bloodline enhancement talent to evolve a C-level wingman into a B-level celestial being. You take out the lucky Rubik's Cube and start to recover according to the formula in your mind. After recovering successfully, you didn't feel the strange power, and then you summoned 3 celestial beings, and 3 common eggs appeared in front of the Lord's core. You think the lucky value bonus this time is not high. The celestial beings break out of their shells, and you command them to fly out of the territory to hunt. When you press the lucky Rubik's Cube again, you find that it has no response, and the Godite tells you that it is accumulating strength. You use the Mirror World talent, and a mirror of the same length appears in front of you. You try to remove the Rubik's Cube from the mirror, and it succeeds. It is indistinguishable from the Rubik's Cube in your hand, both in weight and shape. It's a pity that when you press the white button, the mirror image of the Rubik's Cube shatters instantly and turns into countless light spots. It turned out that there was still a cooling time, but fortunately it was not wasted this time, and it was replaced with a gold talent. The talent of Mirror World is not so much a copy as a projection. You can bring a perfect replica out of a mirror, but it dissipates when you try to actually use it. Yi Chun looked down quickly and found that the lucky cube returned to normal on the 4th day. Day 4. You press the lucky cube, and it begins to rotate dazzlingly above your palm again. At the moment of recovery, you summon 5 celestial beings. The Lord's core flashes for a while, and you notice 2 strangely shaped eggs. You look with your eyes, one is the egg of a fallen man, and the other is the size of a fist, and its name is Fungao. Day 5. The wind bird stands on your shoulders, trimming its feathers with its beak from time to time. It can flap its wings and create a small tornado. When you see the monster getting dizzy in the tornado, you can't help but touch its little head. Day 6. You drag yourself out of the mirror world. His face is a little dull, and he will act accordingly after you give an order. You feel a little mentally drained, but that's not a big deal. After about 30 minutes, you see yourself in the mirror disappear. You figured out how to deal with the ogre of tomorrow, so you crafted 4 powered ballistas and placed them on the stone wall. Yi Chun looked at his own reflection in the plane window. It turns out that the world in the mirror is not only objects, but even creatures can be projected. And the price may be to consume one's own mental power. Counterfeit is a good thing. Take a few steps and get out of the way. Day 7. You hide in the dark and see the ogre shatter your mirror image with a hammer, and then control the charged ballista to shoot it into a sieve. There are still a lot of energy points in the treasure chest, and there are no blueprints. Day 8. A team of celestial beings follow your orders and fly as low as possible. The task is to scout the location of other territories. 9th day. You made a large number of hatchets and distributed them to the heavenly beings, and they quickly got the essentials. You start to prepare for the beast tide in 7 days. Day 10. You start to build wooden spikes about 4 meters long from around the stone castle. They are arranged at an interval of about half a meter, and spikes about 2 meters are placed in the interval as a supplement. You change the top of the stone castle to a cone shape, so that the monsters would slide down from above. Celestial beings don't understand your behavior very much, but they still carry out orders faithfully. It turned out that this coping method was chosen. In fact, this is just one method Yi Chun envisioned. The second method is to attack from the ground by digging tunnels. But obviously the effect of this spike formation will be much better, and the error tolerance rate is lower. Yi Chun saw that in the next few days, he kept doing this work repeatedly, and would use food to trade with other lords if there were no resources. In my spare time, I test the limit of the world in the mirror. For example, I tried to summon the mirror image of up to 6 celestial beings. It was also found that as the level of the Lord increases, the area where the mirror appears will also expand. Day 16. You made a cup of tea for yourself and the other celestial beings in the stone castle. They had weird expressions while drinking tea, and they started nibbling on the apples on the table as soon as they changed hands. You shook your head. It seems that heaven and man don't know how to appreciate the tea ceremony, but they seem to understand your relaxed mood. The sky was overcast. You raised your teacup and said welcome to the window. Subsequently, the heavenly people lay on the window and stared blankly. Countless monsters roared down from the sky, but they were pierced through the body by the prepared spikes. The windbirds stood on the top of the stone castle, controlling the strong wind to affect their whereabouts. Soon, the spikes were strewn like candied haws. The monsters that fell later climbed up the corpse, trying to continue to attack the stone castle. You clapped your hands, motioning for the celestial man to fly out to clean up the fish that slipped through the net. When the beast tide is over, you drink the last sip of tea in your teacup and enjoy the breeze quietly. Classy and classy. Yi Chun wants to find a tuxedo for himself to change into. This mood is completely different from the last time I dealt with the beast tide. But before the beast horde came, I had been doing these spikes every day, and this was the only way I could feel relaxed and freehand that day. It almost crushed the beast horde without any injuries. It's time to get down to business. Day 17. Beast tide rewards are released. Your lord level has been raised to the 3rd lower level, and the area of the mirror world has reached 10 square meters. The lowest level of celestial beings is the 3rd level intermediate, and the fallen celestial beings and birds have already reached the 4th level lower level. The increase in combat power gives you a lot of confidence. Since there is no news about other territories, you didn't make too many moves, but let the heavens and humans take turns to monitor at the place where they first met. Day 18. You can now bring out 3 windbird mirror images from the mirror world. They can also release hurricanes, but only 30% of the power of the original version. You decided to stay the same and strengthen the defense in the territory. In order to prevent the enemy from attacking from the sky, you replenish the rechargeable ballista to a maximum of 12 units. If you want to build more, you need to upgrade the second-level stone fortress to the third-level megalithic fortress. You have placed 4 powered ballistas on top of the stone castle, so that you can have full coverage inside and outside the territory. 19th day. The total number of ordinary people reaches 30. There are also 2 fallen and a winged bird, and you keep them by your side, ready to use Soul Lash to hit any enemies that approach. You use the mirror world to mass-produce hatchet mirror images. Although they will shatter and disappear after hitting monsters, there is no need for heaven and humans to recycle them. They like it very much. Day 20. You hide in the distance and see a group of soldiers wearing black armor from a distance. You finally know the opponent's arms. A-level ghost army, the race is undead, can make cold weapons, has the skill life absorption. Every time it deals damage, it will absorb the opponent's vitality. The opponent is a 4-person team, and the strength of each nether soldier has a 4th level inferior. In order not to startle the snake, you choose to send a celestial being to follow them, trying to find out their territory, but unfortunately the celestial being lost when they came back. Finally met. A-level Nether Legion. The race is still undead, the attack restores blood, it seems that there is no weakness. Yi Chun felt a little regretful. He hadn't been to a random A-level unit yet. If the A-level units were so powerful, it would be a matter of course to survive the beast horde. But it doesn't mean that they don't have the power to fight. Tianren itself has an air-to-ground advantage, and it is also equipped with a hatchet, which can carry out long-range attacks. And if the opponent chooses to fight in the territory, Tianren will trigger the defensive formation talent, and the attack power will go further. 12 charged ballistas are definitely enough for the opponent to feel better. Maybe the opponent will be shot into a hedgehog without even entering the territory. Yi Chun thought about all the conditions he had, and felt that there was a glimmer of hope for cross-level battles. It depends on what kind of method the opponent uses to attack. Day 21. You set up a rockfall trap around your territory as an experiment. When the enemy steps into the range of the rockfall trap, they will fall into a deep underground pit, and then boulders will fall from the air to crush the enemy into meatloaf. Its lethality is very good, but the attack range is very small, and there are obvious traps around the trap. Monsters with a little intelligence will bypass here. You shook your head and dismantled the rockfall trap. Day 22. The enemy still hasn't acted. You know that the more anxious you are, the more loopholes will be found by the opponent. You will patrol the territory every day. The range of activities of the celestial beings has narrowed, there is enough food in the granary, and there is no need to go hunting for the time being. Day 23. The heavenly beings met with each other during their patrol, and a small battle took place. Neither party was injured, and the celestial man said that the axe it threw was very effective, and the other party could only flee. If you make heaven and man more vigilant, the other party is definitely showing weakness on purpose. Fortunately, it has the effect of God's eye. I know in advance that the opponent is an A-level unit, otherwise I will definitely fall into the opponent's trap if I chase it rashly. The more you have to hold your breath at this time, the opponent may not be easier than yourself, and maybe they are also racking their brains to find a way to attack. Day 24. Heavenly Man flies back to the territory, telling you that the battle broke out again. You take a last look at the territory, the outcome depends on it. More than a dozen celestial beings lead you to fly out, and the rest of the celestial beings in the territory are guarding around. Call out. The sound of breaking through the air came from far to near, and a scarlet arrow fell from the sky, hitting the open space in front of the granary. Black mist burst out from the arrow, and dozens of soldiers wearing black armor slowly emerged from the center of the mist. A man with a western face bent down to pick up the arrow, raised his face, looked around the territory arrogantly, and then pointed in the direction of the stone castle. All the ghost soldiers raised their sabers. At the same time, outside the territory, in the eyes of the nether sentinels, the gods and you were broken into pieces like a mirror. Your battle successfully deceived the opponent. All the heavenly beings flying out of the territory, including yourself, are mirror images. The charged ballista fired instantly, pinning the leading ghost soldier to the ground. You lurk in the dark, and you see that the Lord's name is Albert, and his talent is to expand Purple's desire. He realized that all of this was a trap, and he roared and ordered the nether soldiers to take out their bows and arrows. Celestial beings fly in the air to avoid arrows, but still get scratched. Albert was surrounded by nether soldiers, advancing towards the stone castle while attacking. Hatchet, Talon, Hurricane, Charged Ballista, Ice Lance Spire. When the scarlet arrow flew into the stone castle, he laughed and waved to the celestial man, and then all the ghost soldiers including himself disappeared into black mist. In front of Albert, the core of the Lord exuded a charming light. He raised his saber and slashed down hard, announcing the end of the battle. But the core of the Lord turned into a mirror and shattered into pieces. With the support of the fallen man, you watched all this indifferently. Just as Albert was about to move, he felt severe pain erupting in his head, and the ground under his feet instantly collapsed. A stone as tall as a person fell from the top of the fort and smashed into the deep pit, causing the entire hall to tremble violently. You saw the eyes of all the ghost soldiers go out at the same time, and they slowly lowered their heads. Yi Chun clenched his fists. Finally solved. The Lord of the Nether Legion turned out to be a Westerner. Purple talent expands the desire, and Yi Chun remembers that the effect is that when the troops are stationed in the wild, the loyalty will increase. No wonder he was able to bear it for so long. The undead don't need food and drink, coupled with their rising loyalty, they can always lurk in the wild. And the scarlet arrow in his hand, which Yi Chun did not expect. It can bypass the defensive facilities of the wall and teleport directly to the home of the opposing lord. It is invincible for surprise attacks. Yi Chun sighed. It must be an epic level prop like the Lucky Cube, opened from the treasure chest of the Beast Tide. This ghost is really lucky. Purple talent, A-level arms, fortunately, I have a better skill. Quote. How to use the talent of Mirror World depends entirely on the creativity of the Lord. Using this talent to copy your own mirror image as bait, or confuse the enemy, is the practice of the common people. And Yi Chun didn't expect that he would also copy the core of the Lord. Albert is also very smart. After breaking into the enemy's territory, he will not be willing to fight, and immediately carry out the decapitation operation of the core of the Lord. But he never expected that after spending a long time, he encountered a fake Lord core, and finally died in a rockfall trap that even monsters would not be fooled by. Now Yi Chun has only one thought: can the arrow on his body explode as equipment? Day 25. You wake up feeling exhausted, which may be the consequence of overusing the mirror world yesterday. Fortunately, Albert was indeed killed, and you pulled out the scarlet arrow from his hand, called the Arrow of Truth. Like the lucky Rubik's Cube, it is an epic level special prop. After shooting it, it will send all the troops within a radius of 3 meters around the Lord to the landing point. After Albert's death, a black orb of light emerges from his body, which can guide you to Albert's territory. For 3 days, only you can enter his territory, after which it becomes a wild area and is no longer protected. Considering your physical condition, you decide to start tomorrow. Really explosive equipment. According to the rules, after the simulation is over, the Arrow of Truth will be solidified into reality. So 7 days later, when Albert opened the treasure chest of the Beast Tide, he would find that it was empty. Quote. Yi Chun could imagine his frantic expression. Without the Arrow of Truth, even with the Nether Legion, an A-level unit, they might not be able to attack their territory from the front. Whoever holds the truth is the truth. Day 26. You lead a team of celestial beings to follow the direction guided by the black light sphere. You throw the Arrow of Truth forward, it disappears instantly through the woods, and then a black mist surrounds you and the heavenly beings, and you come to an open space in the next second. This is a wonderful experience, but using the Arrow of Truth will consume a lot of energy points and cooldown time. You end up letting the Celestials fly you to Albert's territory. His territory is close to the mountains in the east. It is just an inconspicuous tombstone from the sky. When you get closer, you will find that the real entrance is behind the tombstone, which is an underground tomb. You enter the stairs leading to the ground and see the whole picture of the territory. In the huge underground tomb hall, the ground is paved with stone bricks, and there is an extraordinarily ostentatious throne at the end, which reminds you of the devil in some games, as if sitting here waiting for the brave. You scavenge the food in the granary, and let the gods take away the iron swords in the workshop. The Lord's core behind the throne is already covered with cracks. After you touch it lightly, the core peels off layer by layer, revealing the prismatic crystals in the middle. When you pick it up, the entire catacomb trembles violently, and you feel a momentary surge of power, signifying that this has become a wild area. Its name is Lord's Essence, and when you saw its use, you stood there in silence for a long time before leaving. The essence of the Lord, the material of legendary level, the raw material for upgrading the territory above level 4. Main drop roots, Lord Core, Monster Lair. Yi Chun rubbed his temples. After the 3rd level territory, if you want to upgrade the territory, you need the essence of the Lord, and the essence of the Lord can be obtained by killing other lords. Fortunately, the Monster's Lair is also one of the ways to drop it. Otherwise, when most of the lords are promoted to the 3rd level territory, it is hard to imagine what kind of bloody storm it will be. Day 27. You upgrade the 2nd level stone fortress to a 3rd level megalithic fortress. A majestic fortress rises from the ground, and a tall wall encloses the entire territory. Standing on the edge of the wall, you will become a small city that is easy to defend and difficult to attack. You are thinking that if the territory is upgraded in advance, Albert may not choose to attack in a short time, but he will not be able to win the arrow of truth. A gust of wind blows through the foggy forest. You can feel countless sights peeping at yourself from all directions in the misty forest. Obviously, the stone fortress is far more eye-catching than the stone castle. You think that you can't always hide yourself, and now that you have defeated Albert, who has A-level arms, it's time to upgrade your territory and gain more power. Judging from the description, the 3rd level giant stone fortress is much taller than the stone castle, which has advantages and disadvantages. If Yi Chun had chosen a low-level unit, he might still be worrying about food and would not be able to gather so many resources to upgrade his territory. So this kind of territory that looks majestic at a glance is itself a proof of strength. Let the lords of other powerful commons not dare to move around themselves. But it will also attract the eyes of powerful monsters. Yi Chun also remembered the information that the Yeti King was able to devour the core of the Lord. Now it seems that what it devours is not the core of the Lord, but the essence of the Lord in the middle. Upgrade to the 3rd level territory, and you should be able to build a 3rd level workshop. I hope to unlock more useful architectural drawings. I don't know what changes will happen to the arms. It would be nice to have a few more special arms like windbirds. Day 28. You use the lucky Rubik's Cube to boost your units before summoning units. Among the 8 eggs, there is an egg the size of a red fist. Through the eyes of the gods, I saw that its name was Yaniao, and it could release flames. You will upgrade the 2nd level workshop to the 3rd level workshop. The original exquisite wooden house was extended to the distance, and 3 more workbenches were added. The secondary melting furnace was placed in a special stone house, and the decomposition speed was doubled. A lot of blueprints are unlocked on the workbench. You build a well in the backyard of the fortress, and then build an open-air hot spring next to it. You took a refreshing bath and lamented that this is life. Soon, the gods were attracted by this novel thing, and you left the hot spring, not wanting to disturb them playing in the water. Day 29. You built the first arrow tower. Its quality is only common level, but fortunately it consumes very few energy points. You have set up 16 arrow towers in the walls of the fortress, and the dark holes are quite intimidating from the outside. After the flame bird was born, the Hefeng bird was very fond of competing for the ownership of your shoulders, so you had to let them stand one on each side. The flames emitted by the flame bird are extremely hot, and the monster meat will be burned into black charcoal and cannot be eaten, so you didn't let it go hunting with the celestial beings. You see someone on the World Channel mentioning the great castle of the Misty Woods, but you don't know if it's you. And the Lord is asking where the monster lair is, and you have noted down the alias of the other party vigilantly. It seems that someone has been promoted to the 3rd level territory like yourself. Day 30. The number of celestial beings has reached 80. Fortunately, their appetite is very small. If you have imagined that there are 80 violent apes, it is estimated that 5 granaries are not enough for them to build. Heaven and man have expanded the scope of hunting. You did not deliberately search for the location of other lords, but ordered that any abnormalities must be reported. The trade between the lords has changed from food to weapons and other materials. You sold the iron swords you got from Albert to get a lot of spices and energy points. Day 31. Your lord's level has been raised to the 3rd level intermediate. The higher the level, the more experience points you need, and the experience points obtained by hunting with celestial beings are very limited. You are getting more and more proficient in manipulating the world in the mirror. Sometimes Yaniao Hefengao can't tell which is the real you, and you can only confirm by flying back and forth between the two sides. As the level of the Lord increases, the strength of the items taken out of the mirror world also increases, but the celestial beings still like to throw out the hatchet mirror image and never recycle it. Day 32. Someone on the World Channel asked if there would be a second wave of beasts, which immediately aroused public anger and was sprayed by other lords. You said that it is better to let him report the location of his territory, so that he can feel the joy like a beast tide. This suggestion was unanimously approved. But in fact, every lord is as worried as you, and such a stable life may not last long. Is there a second wave of beasts? Yi Chun also had this question. First of all, the intensity of the first wave of beasts was obvious to all. If the monster rain falling from the sky was not predicted in advance, it would definitely be a hard battle. It's no wonder that mentioning the beast tide in Tianda will cause other lords to suffer from the beast tide PTSD syndrome. Lords who can survive the first wave of beasts must have strong units and talents. Maybe it won't be long before many lords will upgrade their territories to level 3 like him. Day 33. You noticed a blue spire appeared at the foot of the eastern mountain range. Its top was partly higher than the giant tree, and it was as conspicuous as your megalithic fortress. You think it won't take long, there will be more and more buildings like this, and the other party is across a forest from you, so there will be no conflict for the time being. But in order to be safe, you still send the celestial beings to explore in the direction of the blue spire, and return as soon as possible if you encounter danger, so as not to conflict with the other party. 34th day. You feel that you lack some final killers, so you put your mind on Yaniao Hefengao. One can produce extremely high flames, and the other can fan hurricanes. Combo skills are an attractive term. You let the flame bird cooperate with the wind bird to spray flames, and a tornado with raging fire swept across the weeds in the territory. Fortunately, Yaniao can control the flames he releases, otherwise you feel that you are the first lord to be wiped out because of fire. Yi Chun looked terrified. He probably didn't expect that Yaniao and Hefengao could really cooperate to release a powerful combination skill. It's a good thing that the flames can be extinguished, otherwise it would be too embarrassing to survive the first wave of beasts and kill the Nether Legion, only to die at the hands of one of our own. Day 35. You have modified the shape of the hatchet through the workshop, and used fine steel for forging. Mirror World can also replicate this modified hatchet, which is lighter and has a better center of gravity. The mirror image of the improved short axe can last for half a day, and it will shatter and disappear after being thrown 5 times. Now when Tianren goes out to hunt, he always wears 3 mirror images of improved hatchets on his waist, which looks very majestic. Day 36. Your exploration of the territory of the Blue Spire has finally come to fruition. The celestial man who went to investigate has returned, and it tells you to evacuate after encountering the opponent's unit. The opponent looks like a large lizard crawling on the ground, and you guess that it is probably some kind of earth dragon. Because the distance is too far, it is impossible for the opponent to take a huge risk to attack. You have a preliminary impression of the Blue Spire, and you think it is easy to deal with this kind of unit that has no long-range attack power. Day 37. World Channel sends out a message that the second wave of beasts will break out in 7 days. As soon as the news came out, the whole World Channel has exploded, and your hand speed can't even keep up with the speed of information refresh. Fear, despair, cursing. You also feel this kind of mood, but seeing your 3rd level megalithic fortress, your mood is much better. Even if it rains monsters again, the boulder fortress will be difficult to smash. The spikes prepared last time have not been disintegrated, and they may also come in handy this time. After the feeling of despair, all the lords turned grief and anger into strength, and discussed with each other how to resist the second wave of beasts. You've seen people come up with similar spikes. However, the defense methods between different arms cannot be completely copied mechanically, so only a small number of lords expressed that they would consider making them. Yi Chun took out his mobile phone and recorded, "Tien Dalu, the second wave of beasts will break out in 44 days. It's still here." Yi Chun sighed. The first wave of beasts will break out in 16 days, and another wave of beasts will break out after 28 days. It is also equivalent to giving the Lord 28 days to develop. Will the beast tide fall from the sky this time? Is it possible to emerge from the ground? Yi Chun didn't dare to speculate now, and the specific situation would only be known on the day of the beast tide. Day 38. You start arranging the spikes again. When Tianren saw this scene, he seemed to think of the day when the monster rain came. But they are not afraid at all. Instead, they are very interested in arranging spikes with you, treating it as a fun game. After the expansion of the territory, the number of spikes is far from enough to cover the surrounding area of the fortress. You consume energy points and wood to make a new batch. At night, you lie in the hot spring, the flame bird's fiery red feathers are filled with water drops, and you think about how powerful monsters you can resist with your current combat power. Day 39. Standing on the edge of the fortress, you see a huge tower made of black bricks rising from the south, and countless birds fly away from the forest. This is the 4th Tier 3 territory you've seen today. It seems that the threat of the second wave of beasts has made other lords dare not bear it any longer, so they can only quickly upgrade their territories to strengthen their defenses. You can see that there seems to be a consensus in the world channel. It is very unwise to fight with other lords before the second wave of beasts breaks out. You very much agree with this point of view. Day 40. Most of the spikes are arranged, and you place the core of the lord on the second floor of the fortress, so that you don't have to worry about monsters coming from the ground. Under your order, the range of activities of the celestial beings has become smaller. Try to avoid collisions with other territories. Judging from the situation reported during the patrol, the other lords should also think the same way. Day 41. You strengthen the defense of the wall, and you can build up to 32 rechargeable ballistas for the 3rd level fortress, and you distribute them evenly around the territory. You have already made a decision. If you encounter a crisis situation, you can use the mirror world to copy a part of the charged ballista image to temporarily resist the weak defense. Day 42. Yaniao Hefungao's combo skills are becoming more and more proficient. Tornadoes possess terrifying size and destructive power under the blessing of fire. This will be your last resort. Day 43. The second wave of beasts is coming. The lords on the world channel are all encouraging each other, but there are also other lords who say that the weak should be eliminated early, which aroused the indignation of others. In the last beast tide, because of your arrangement in advance, the heavenly people were not too vigilant about the beast tide. So you hold a mobilization meeting in the fortress to let the heavenly beings recharge their energy, and you must not take it lightly. In the evening, you lay down in the hot spring to stretch your body. Before the big battle, the entire misty forest was extremely quiet, and all the lords were accumulating strength. It's finally here. This is the longest time Yi Chun has survived since the simulation, and also successfully reached the second wave of beasts. Now let's see what kind of offensive the beast tide is. Day 44. You stand on the wall of the giant stone fortress and look out, and formations of monsters are rushing from all directions. The charged ballista fires giant bolts, easily linking the goblins in the front row with the demon dogs behind it. When the monster group approached the fort one after another, the arrows shot from the arrow tower formed the second line of defense. Even without the help of heaven and man, the arrow tower and charged ballista are enough to harvest the monsters that attack in groups. But you didn't take it lightly. Compared with the first wave of beasts, the second wave of beasts seems too simple. The beast horde continued, and monster corpses piled up around the fortress, leaving behind a bloody barrier. On the world channel, other lords also encountered the same situation. This time the beast tide seems to be only a simple group of monsters. Some people think that this is actually the first wave of beast tide. The corpse of the monster exudes a strong bloody smell. You can't help but cover your nose. God Eye has confirmed that there is no toxin in the air. The monster's attack is getting smaller and smaller. It seems that this is the last round. Suddenly, a black feather fell from the air into your palm, and you saw yellow stains on the feather, emitting a corpse smell. The sky darkened. You immediately turn the direction of the charged ballista and point the launch port at the sky above the territory. It wasn't monster rain, but a group of vultures covered in warts. They rushed towards the monster's corpse with harsh screams, and then began to devour the flesh and blood. Immediately afterwards, you see a horrific scene where all the vulture's tumors exploded and all kinds of arms and teeth grew out. They gradually become larger in size, and their wings are also trying to expand outward. God eye scanned the vultures, and you saw their information. Mutant stitching monster, unknown race, leader level 4th order monster. The corpses capable of devouring other monsters are constantly evolving, their minds are crazy, and they only desire stronger flesh and blood. When the first mutant stitch was upgraded to tier 5, you sent the flaming bird Hefeng in time. The fire tornado quickly swept across the perimeter of the territory, and all the corpses of the monsters were turned into coke in an instant. All the celestial beings flapped their wings and flew out of the territory. This was the first time they encountered a terrifying monster that could also fly. Tianren used a modified hatchet to chop off Stitcher's arm, but a thicker column of flesh immediately grew out of the cut. You look around, and there are still 10 ugly mutant Stitch monsters left under the fire tornado and charged ballista. Although their bodies can regenerate, they are not infinite. As long as the fresh flesh in their bodies is exhausted, they cannot be regenerated. You use the mirror world to replicate 8 flamebirds with all your strength, and use flames to burn all corpses that are not charred. The celestial beings wrestled with them in the air, and whenever they dropped an arm or a piece of meat, they would be turned into black coals by the flames. When there were only 3 mutant Stitchers left, they turned their heads to look at their companions, their eyes full of bloodthirsty desire. They turned their heads and rushed together, biting each other's flesh and blood. You know this might be your last chance. The fire tornado exploded from below, enveloping them instantly. The soaring pillar of fire distorted the air, spreading waves of heat outward. In the end, when Yaniao Hefengao was exhausted and was caught by the heavenly beings, the 3 mutated Stitch monsters hit the ground and shattered into black residue. The beast tide is really over. Looking at the messy territory, you fainted in the arms of the fallen celestial being. Seeing the end, Yi Chun finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there is a unit like the flame bird that can release flames. Otherwise, when the mutant Stitches are devoured infinitely, no matter how strong the unit is, it will not be able to defeat such a high-level monster. At the same time, Yi Chun felt the danger of this beast tide. Monster corpses can be decomposed in the granary, so in the face of such a large number, the Lord will only wait for the end of the beast tide to collect instead of trying to destroy them in advance. This gave the mutant Stitch monster a chance to devour and evolve. It seems that the Lord who can survive this beast tide must not only have a strong enough army, but also know how to stop losses in time. 45th day. You slowly wake up from the bed, and the heavenly beings are worried about your safety around the bed. The world channel is full of complaints from various lords, but their words are full of pride in being able to survive this beast tide. Beast tide rewards have been released. All lords get a lot of food units and building materials, as well as a treasure chest. You open the treasure chest and get a rare level weapon blueprint, Sword of Holy Light. It has divine properties and can cause non-renewable burns to undead and demons. Your lord level has been raised to the 3rd level, and the strength of throwing the hatchet is already comparable to that of a heavenly man. You command the celestial beings to bury all the charred corpses of monsters. Although the flames fully destroyed the monster's corpse, it also caused damage to the buildings in the territory. You organize to rebuild the residence of the celestial beings. The reward is not bad. A blueprint of a rare level weapon is very effective against evil creatures like the undead. Finally got a weapon blueprint. Yi Chun feels that this simulation has gained a lot so far. Not only did he get epic level special props, but more importantly, he knew the specific situation of the second wave of beasts in the Tianlu. 46th day. You made the first Sword of Holy Light. Its grade is rare grade, requires a lot of materials and energy points, and cannot be mass-produced. Tianren deliberately captured a demon dog from the foggy forest to test the power of the holy sword. You hold the silver white hilt and slash forward, milky white light flows on the sword, easily leaving a wound on the demon dog. Black smoke burst out of the opening in an instant, and the demon dog tried to fight back, but the movement became slower and slower, and finally fell to the ground and was purified by the holy light. Is this thing so useful to the demon race? By the way, the mutant Stitch monster can be regarded as a demon race. After all, it has devoured many races, and the Sword of the Holy Light must have an effect on it. 47th day. you see a news that interests you very much on the World Channel. A lord had just captured a monster lair. Since the monster belonged to the same race as his own arms, an evolution scroll exploded when he destroyed the lair, successfully upgrading his own arms to A level. It turns out that this is also possible. Yi Chun remembered that his innate bloodline promotion seemed to be similar to the evolution scroll. In this way, even low-level troops, as long as they can tenaciously survive the beast tide, they can continue to challenge the monster's lair to get promoted, so that they will not be slaughtered later. Yi Chun quickly wrote down this important message on his phone. Day 48. The celestial man returns to the fortress and tells you that something unusual has happened. The celestial beings took you into the air, and you saw many giant trees collapsing in the direction of the blue spire, as if they were heading somewhere. You judge that the opponent's movement is not towards your own territory, maybe he has started a war with other lords. You're wondering if you can take advantage of the fisherman's fortune. Day 49. The roar of the explosion echoes in the air, and you wake up from your bed. You subconsciously prepare the celestial beings to fight, only to find that there are no enemies around the territory. The fallen man holds your shoulders and takes you into the air. You follow the sound and look east. A puff of thick smoke rose from the mountains, and suddenly flames burst out, countless stones burst into the air, and fell into the forest with a loud roar. You recalled that God's Eye once gave a comment, "There is a pterosaur's lair there." A chill came from the soles of your feet, and even the fallen man froze, almost bringing you down. You saw black dots rise from the mountains and stay in the air, and then spread their wings in your direction. The first to be destroyed was the blue spire, which was trampled to debris by the wyvern. You stand on top of the fortress, looking at the roaring pterodactyl in the sky. They have black and red wings, and their scales cover their whole body like armor. You notice that several of them have multiple wounds on their bodies, and even the scales have lifted to reveal bloody scars. Pterosaurs, dragons, legendary level monsters, level 7. You are dead. The simulation is over. Your survival time is 49 days, and the cooldown time is 98 minutes. The host's simulated lord level is the 3rd level superior this time, and the next simulation will receive an increase in experience points. This simulation obtained the rare level weapon blueprint, Sword of Holy Light, and the next simulation will automatically join the workshop. This simulation has obtained the epic level prop, Arrow of Truth, which has solidified into reality. Yi Chun was full of question marks, reread the content of the previous simulation, and finally understood what was going on. I was tricked by that stupid Lord of Blue Spire. When Tianren was investigating before, he saw that the troops in the territory of Blue Spire were suspected to be Earth Dragons. And the World Channel reported that as long as you capture the monster lair of the same race, you can get the promotion of the unit. So I don't know how the Lord found out that there was a pterosaur's lair in the mountain range, so he happily ran to kill the dragon. Yi Chun covered his forehead. However, judging from the final description, the Lord really caused damage to the pterosaur. From the sound of the explosion, it can be inferred that he should have some kind of powerful prop. It's a pity that I overestimated my own strength too much. As a result, the pterosaur was angered, and Yi Chun's territory was also destroyed. It's probably not just me, maybe the lords in the Area 55 of the Misty Forest will be wiped out. Yi Chun clasped his hands together, and silently mourned for these unlucky people. In the future, when choosing a territory, you must stay away from the Dragon Clan, and stay away from what be. The talent of Mirror World is relatively small at the beginning, but as the level of the Lord increases, it is simply a plug-in for copying. The Mirror World gold reality and illusion are only separated by a bright mirror. The things in the mirror are extremely fragile, but they are also real. Solidified into the talent bar. Yi Chun saw a brief double image appearing in front of him, as if two worlds overlapped and then interlaced and separated. He stretched out his hand to explore forward, and when viewed from the side, Yi Chun's upper arm disappeared strangely in midair, leaving only a cross-section. Got it. Yi Chun grabbed the mirror image of the magazine book in his hand. It was exactly the same as the one in front of the seat, even the creases were the same. He tried to tear off a page from it, and the whole book was broken into pieces in his hand, and then disappeared. Interesting, it seems that my mental power is only 0 level now, far from the strength of the 3rd level in the simulation. This time the simulation lasted for an hour and a half. Yi Chun rested his head on the seat, closed his eyes, and meditated on the harvest of this simulation. As far as we know so far, there are 2 waves of beast swarms, on the 16th and 44th day. Although the beast tide in the sky continent is dangerous, the rewards are also very generous. I got the lucky Rubik's Cube, and Albert is the arrow of truth. The quality is very high. Even if you have a strong combat power, you can't be careless, otherwise you will be killed as easily as Albert and the Dragon Lord. Now that I have B-level units, I can barely pass the second wave of beasts. The next step is to simulate obtaining A-level units. Otherwise, I can only find monster lairs to get promoted. Thinking of this, Yi Chun flipped his wrist and took out the lucky Rubik's Cube. Crack. Press the white button, the Rubik's Cube does not respond. Lucky Rubik's Cube, epic level special props, press the white center button to randomly scramble, and you will get a random lucky value bonus when you restore it. Luck is condensing. Yi Chun scanned it with his divine eyes and found that it would take 10 hours to recover. Fortunately, this time there are only 10 hours. I have 6 days to go to the Supreme Continent. I must make full use of the lucky Rubik's Cube. Let's wait until we get off the plane to see the arrow of truth. If it causes panic, my travel plans will be ruined. Zhongluo Xinxing Airport. The passenger plane landed smoothly, and Yi Chun picked up his backpack and left. Dear passenger, I wish you a pleasant journey. Thanks. Yi Chun smiled and nodded to the stewardess at the cabin door. Lu Ningning felt her heartbeat a beat slower. Looking at his back as he left, she regretted that she didn't ask for his contact information on the plane. An artist from another boy group, right? It's all about my aesthetics. Yi Chun crossed the airport bridge and quickly found the airport exit. Well, it's so hot. The daytime temperature in Zhongluo City is about 10 degrees, compared with the low temperature of -10 degrees in the north of Longguo. Yi Chun's forehead instantly burst into sweat. Board a taxi. The driver master was happy when he saw Yi Chun. Young man, judging by your clothes, you should come from the north. Yi Chun took off his down jacket and smiled helplessly. Yes, master, take me to Wanyu Square first. Wanyu Plaza is the largest business center in Zhongluo City. It has complete facilities for eating, drinking and entertaining, and occupies a large area. The master kicked the accelerator. Okay. Half an hour later, Yi Chun got out of the car and stretched. As expected of a well-known business center, the pedestrian street is spotless, and you can see the large landmark buildings of Wanyu Plaza when you look up. The roadside internet celebrity anchors gathered in a pile, wearing uniforms and short skirts, and the photographer in front looked for different angles and directed them to pose in various poses. It's true that there are internet celebrities in every world. Yi Chun avoided their cameras and went straight to the clothing store on the second floor of Wanyu Plaza. When the shopping guide saw Yi Chun stepping into the store, his eyes lit up. It's been a long time since I saw such an extraordinary boy, even wearing a heavy down jacket has a special flavor. She said softly. Welcome. What kind of clothes does the handsome guy want to buy? No, I'll just pick a few pieces myself. Handsome guy, look at our latest style, it fits your figure very well, here is a waist treatment, and your waist. As she spoke, she touched her hand. Yi Chun, quickly get out of the way, let's introduce the big sister as soon as we introduce, can you not get started? The shopping guide didn't mind at all, and continued to approach Tiny and said, and these pants are also 3-dimensional cut, unlike the ones on yours, the buttocks are a bit loose. 20 minutes later, Yi Chun escaped from the second floor with a few bags of clothes in his hands. At first, there was only one shopping guide, but after a while, people from several nearby clothing stores also came to visit, and even the group of internet celebrities came to join in the fun. It has to be said that in this kind of business center, the beauty and fashion attract the attention of passers-by, and it can easily become the background board for short videos shot by internet celebrities. In the future, you should wear a mask when you go out, otherwise it will be too troublesome. Yi Chun threw the down jacket into the recycling bin, and changed into light clothes, feeling a lot more relaxed. I booked a room for 2 days and 2 nights at a hotel near Wanyu Square last night. The next stop is Zunan City, so I don't need to stay for too long. Against the backdrop of the business center, the 3-star hotel also looks very grand. Give the front desk an order for your appointment, and it will be confirmed soon. Yi Chun, led by the waiter, entered his room, number 5302. When he left, he bent down and said, "Sir, if you need anything, you can call our front desk. I wish you a pleasant stay. Finally I can take a break." Yi Chun observed the entire room with his eyes. Common bed sheets have been sterilized by ultraviolet rays and can be used normally. Disposable toothbrush. The brush head is slightly hard, but it does not hinder the use. The kettle has instant noodle seasoning powder left on the inner wall. It is recommended to use it after high temperature sterilization. It seems that the kettle in the hotel really can't be used casually. Fortunately, there is no hidden camera in this room, so Yi Chun took out the arrow of truth with confidence. The entire arrow was scarlet red, and it was heavy in the hand. The arrow body had a wooden feel, but it made a crisp sound when struck. When you use it, you need to consume energy points to shoot it, and then the troops within 3 meters near the Lord will be teleported to the landing point together. It is very useful whether you are escaping or making a surprise attack. The arrow of truth is very suitable for melee units, and can quickly rush to the enemy, just like Albert's Nether Legion, and it can cause terrifying damage when used together. The violent ape is probably okay, but the violent ape is so big, only a few can be teleported. The simulator has cooled down, and Yi Chun can't wait to prepare for the next simulation.